basically for this call is honestly just going to be kind of like a check-in, just like how we usually do whenever we meet for a session and just in the beginning when I'm just kind of checking in, seeing how you're doing. Um, so the only thing is this is going to be more about just the entire program in a sense, the entire all the all the 6 sessions. And the main thing is just answer just as honestly as you can, just as you've always been. Don't feel like you need to say anything specific. Um, really just think of it as just me and you talking just the way that we always do and just answering it honestly, because that's what this is for, really, is just for me to actually get your honest, um, authentic feelings as to how the whole journey went. It's not really for anyone else. I mean, even though, I may use parts of these, really it's just for me, most importantly to understand how you're feeling and how you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes
Awesome.
sense.
Awesome. Um, okay, so overall, when it comes to, zooming out and looking at the entire, um, you know, whole series of sessions that we did, which was over the course of probably a couple months, um, something like that. How did,
Maybe what, 3 months, sort of, I guess.
yeah, yeah, maybe a little longer. You're right. Um, how would you describe the overall experience?
Overall, um, it was something different, something that I never tried before, but I was kind of like wanted to figure out what the whole thing was about. So uh, I wasn't going with any thoughts as in, oh, this is gonna be fake, this is gonna be a joke or anything like that. I wasn't with the idea that, oh, I'm gonna be going through all of these changes right away either. I was basically going with an open mind about whatever was gonna happen. Um, you even noticed the very first times they were a little bit unusual what I was actually seeing on my head. But at the end of the day, the fact that even on the first try, I was able to see something uh, in way of an adventure, I guess. Uh, Random places, different times, different people, even. All of that basically, in a way, got me thinking, okay, what's going on? Is this actually real? The fact that I was able to see all of that, it basically opened my mind a little bit more about what was actually experiencing. Like, okay, there's something here. You may not have I may not have got my answer right away, and even that first session, it was all over the place. It was just random, and I didn't quite get an answer. Matter of fact, I don't even think I actually remember somebody talking to me, as in later on. But that was more in me, as in my idea of it. Maybe I had some second thoughts or something like that. That's the reason why I guess I needed to actually focus on believing in it, putting my trust into it. So at the end of the day, that's what actually happened. And as we progressed, everything started becoming a little more clear. By the last session, I even was making the whole conclusion. I was actually connecting the dots, and it just seemed like major accomplishment from the very beginning. As in, what is this? What is it actually telling me? What's the whole message? Oh my God, this is like a puzzle. And at the end, okay, so I say this. Oh, okay, now I'm getting it. It may have to do with this, and this other thing. So, okay, now I know the answer. So it made a big change. And overall, at the end, it actually helped me out. And the most important thing of all, I actually probably I don't remember if it was the first question that I had, like overall, saying like the whole purpose of the reason why I started doing all of this. But at the end, I actually got the answer that I was looking for. So that was actually a major step for me, a major breakthrough.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember that in the beginning, you were, yeah, after having that whole session that it was kind of like, how would you describe how you were really, how would you describe how you were feeling at the after the first session? Because I remember that. It was like,
If I had to put in one word, confused.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Be
Yeah,
Mainly because of the fact that, like I was saying, maybe what I was watching, as in movies or what I had seen before, whatever was in my mind, it was being used to actually come up with something like a message. So because of the whole science fiction in my head, I guess that's the reason why I started seeing all of that. But at the end of the day, it was a message. Little crazy all over the place, but still, it was a message.
yeah, because I remember even in the beginning you were feeling like even in after like this think the second session or even the third session that you were really wanting that breakthrough and it felt like it was really close, but it always just wasn't fully there. But then as time went on, it did come.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, the very first time, I guess it was all over the place. I don't even think we actually found the actual message of it, as in it progressed second and third time. Uh, Forgot in which one actually, but we got to the point that it was basically my faith. And after actually clearing that out, I managed myself to actually trust it, trust it more. And after that, everything else was getting actually a lot clearer. Not at first, not at the very beginning. I was still seeing everything basically cloudy, dark, not actually seeing anything. But as it eventually came along, uh, it just started making more sense. It became more clear. Instead of science fiction or random places, probably imaginary overall. Uh, as we progress, the more realistic, more as in if I was actually in that place, more like an existing place, like let's say my house or a grocery store. But the point is that it looked more real than a fantasy. So it did become more clear as it went along. So again, that was on me, my part. And as soon as we found out the message that it was just me, the one that was still blocking it, I guess. And also, I think it was because of the fear. As soon as we figured all that out and we connected the puzzle, then we figured out what I needed to do. And eventually I did. And that's how we progressed even more in these sessions.
Yeah, yeah. And if you could describe the whole experience in like one word, how would you describe it?
One word for me, amazing.
And what
Uh,
was, yeah.
for me, it was amazing. The fact that like I was telling you since the very beginning, uh, I did got a little bit of understanding about hypnosis, and the fact that now we were actually using it as hypnotherapy. Uh, it just became something different, and the fact that it's something still somewhat unknown, as in not the fact that it actually exists, that we can actually use it as therapy, but the fact that we still don't know the whole understanding of what psychology is, or the mind, the hypnosis, what potential it can actually lead to. There's so many things that happen in our mind that we still don't understand. And the fact that brain or the mind is the most powerful thing, and we can still not comprehend it. We can comprehend more of the space and the ocean, but not too much of the brain. Uh, it's just something different. Whatever you actually get in your head, uh, it becomes something else to the point that it can be even realistic to the people that actually experience it. And it's just different. The person that actually goes through this session and actually feel that connection, they're gonna understand it. The people that are just gonna be on the outside, just looking at actually experiencing this whole thing firsthand, are not gonna understand any of this. They're just gonna be, it might be uh, stretching it out or something like that. But once you experience it, is something different, something amazing.
Yeah, what would out of everything you say was the most amazing? Was it, yeah, how would you describe that? The most amazing thing?
Most amazing thing. Uh, One, I'm glad that I actually got my answer. Are you still there? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, but the most amazing thing for me, although it wasn't actually expected, it was having to actually see my grandpa and my grandma. My grandma, because I never actually, I wasn't able to actually say goodbye. And my grandpa, I never actually met him because he passed away when my even my dad was very young. So the fact that I was able to see them both and in a way have some closure about it. And like I said, even without actually expecting it, I wouldn't never know that I was gonna be having or able to actually see them or have a connection with them again. It was just out of nowhere. Like I said, never crossed my mind in any of these sessions that I was going to be seeing any of that. So that was something amazing for me.
Yeah, I love when those things happen when you're not even expecting certain things and then you just get certain things like that. It really shows what's possible when you're in these altered states, just like what you mentioned about the brain, how we're just scratching the surface on all this and you can be in this space and then these things can happen that just completely catch you off guard, but you didn't even know that you needed it, but then you get it and it's like so there's like a release. There's like the dots connecting and just like what you mentioned. So what would you say, just to describe it in your own words again, was the goal that you had before you started, like going in? Like the biggest challenge, the biggest block?
Okay, I don't specifically remember the whole question or purpose that I had as why I actually did came towards you, asked for your help and everything. But I want to say that sort of one of the things that I was looking for was transformation. Was basically guidance also in a way, as in I wanted to become something else. I wanted to actually improve myself for my well-being, as in financially, as in a better person, as in my workplace. Uh, in a way, I was just looking for an transformation overall. Um, at the end of the day, the last sessions, I want to say it was part of my answer was part of that whole question. But I want to say that as we progressed, what I was actually looking for started changing. And my main goal at the end of the day, it was basically a life purpose, which at the end of the day, I did have my answer in the perspective that I had a few other more questions or dilemmas, things that I wanted to do overall, as in helping others, helping family, helping people overall. And my answer basically connected with that, connected with what my question was at the very beginning, connected with my life purpose. So that whole answer at the end of the day pretty much connected the dots with everything else that we were talking about in all of the sessions.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember at the beginning, some of what you had mentioned as well was a sense of like decisiveness. I remember a little bit of that, like wanting to be more decisive. Um, and with some of these other things, how would you, if you look back to before we started, how would you describe how you were back then? Like maybe, I guess in this case, 3 months ago, like an average day or.
I want to say I'm not a timid person or shy for that matter, but I did second thought everything that I actually did. If you actually asked me for a question, my answer it was gonna be all over the place, or probably I wouldn't even give you an answer because of how much I would actually have to think it through and then try to, let's say as an example, have pros and cons and still overthink them. Okay, so is this actually better? Is this actually bad? Uh, so pretty much overall, just overthinking too much. Never actually would decide. As in my workplace, it would affect me the decisions that I make, especially in the type of field that I'm working on, and in my life as well, my personal life with my girlfriend and my son and everything else. It's just pretty much it was kind of like a battle for what I actually wanted to do, but at the same time, my head will just bring me back down as in, no, you're not supposed to be doing this, you can't be doing this, and stuff like that. So in a way, I would actually stop myself from actually doing what I actually wanted to do, as in progress in life, as in enjoy an activity, and any of those type of things. Like I said, I would just not actually come in terms with my own self with those type of decisions. So it was very frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of just like over analyzing and feeling like you're not fully moving forward in certain ways, feeling more frustrated, more stuck, something like internally is blocking you or is stopping you.
Yeah, actually, the word that I kept using a lot was blockage and feeling like sinking. Like if I was just sinking in and I couldn't actually get out. So that was one of the two things that I would actually be saying a lot at the very beginning of our sessions.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah, that's great. That is really important, that feeling, to connect with if you really feel like you're sinking, like you're taking one step forward, two steps back. It's like,
Mhm.
you know. So and then how do you feel now? How would you describe it's like that same question, but now in your life? An average day, or how are you feeling now when it comes to all these things, the blockage, the decisiveness.
So it's not just me saying this about me. I had my boss actually made a comment about it. I had my girlfriend actually seeing some of that as well. Uh, I feel a lot more calm, more somewhat in peace. Uh, the fact that I'm actually more in peace with myself, obviously it feels like I have the weight that was actually on my shoulders, it just got removed. So because of the fact that I'm more calm, I can actually just not actually worry too much about overthinking stuff. If somebody asks me a question, I would just think about it for a little bit, which is not that bad, and just pretty much come up with an answer. Uh, Try not to overthink it too much. Like I said, that will become like a bad habit in a way. Uh, but I still try to think the best outcome out of it and just basically go for it. If it's something that it was actually a bad decision, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but at the same time, we're here to actually fix those things. And if it's the right answer, that's gonna help in a way build confidence. So the more confident somebody get, the more confident they're gonna feel about making a decision, and having the right one is gonna actually keep building that confidence. So in a way, it's gonna be reducing that overthinking to to a some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I loved whenever you were mentioning that about how your boss was saying things and noticing things, and your girlfriend was too. When would you say during the process was the moment or the time when you really started to notice that this was working? Was it that? Was it a moment like that when your boss and everyone started to recognize it? Or what would you say was the one moment where you really started to notice?
Okay. I want to say the second session was still a little bit fuzzy, as in details, as in answers, and I guess still in the second session, uh, I still needed to come up with an answer by myself. Uh, I guess everything that I was actually seeing, everything else, were not actually giving me like a complete answer. They were still trying to make me look for it and still go out there. That was still part of the blockage. So I want to say probably like around the third session. After that third session, that's whenever we had already established that it was part of the fear and part of the not actually believing in the process. Once removing that on the third, on this after the second session, coming to the third one, that's whenever I started actually seeing more of the answer more clearly. My thoughts were not actually all over the place and stuff like that. And also, yes, the more I've actually after every session, I try to actually do something about it. Even like I was mentioning to you, just the fact that I actually grab my phone, I actually send you the email to actually have like a little bit of uh, basically get my information straight, as in what was the process and everything else. Just by actually picking that phone and actually giving you a call, send you that email to actually request a session. Just that, it actually motivated me to actually make some changes. And the more sessions that we actually had, the more I was trying to actually have something come out of it, as in either do something right after that session, or actually during that week or time frame that we had until the next meeting. I would actually try to do something regarding that, as in change something about me or do something different or something like that. Another thing that actually helped me was the fact that whenever I did the whole sort of session with my girlfriend, and the fact that she got a connection way before me, like I said, nobody is the same. Um, the fact that I actually made that happen, it actually opened my world a little bit more. As in, there's a lot of possibilities, and if she actually experienced that and made an actual connection that I wasn't having at the very beginning, and just basically with my help, the fact that I did that and that happened, it basically opened my eyes that this actually works. It may not happen with me yet, but that's basically the key. Yet, at some point, I was gonna be able to do that, which it actually happened. It brought me basically to my answer that I was actually hoping, begging for at the end of the day. So all of that basically was the one that actually told me to trust this process and that it was actually working.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I've noticed that time and time again too. It's like the more that you trust, the more that you have faith, the more that the process just flourishes and unfolds. But it's nothing that you can just manufacture. It's not like you can just automatically snap your fingers and you just believe. Sometimes you really have to go through the process of having the doubts like you did in the beginning and not really knowing, but then you start to see it, and then you start to see, like you mentioned, your girlfriend doing it and her having these answers that you're helping her with. And then it's almost like a multiplier. It puts the multiplier on, and then everything comes together. It's really fascinating how this whole process really unfolds with trust and faith. When interestingly, we're also looking from that for ourselves to have that trust and that faith in ourselves too. So it's funny how that works. It's like as you have more trust and faith in the process, you're also building that trust and faith in yourself that's having those positive effects in your life. If you could rate, right? Are you going to say something?
Yes, I was gonna say, I wanted to add the fact that on the very first session, I went to the very first process, which it was I call it sort of an initiation. I know it has another word, but the whole starting point, as in, uh, you're at this place, and what do you see? And it can be realistic, it could be actual place, it could be something imaginary, it could be whatever you can make up. In that whole story, afterwards, as I kept going, you even noticed from me that I wanted to just basically tell you, oh wait, this whole thing is made up. This whole thing is fake. Nah, I'm not actually trusting this because of what's actually what was coming up. Uh, just pretty much like sci-fi movie, and I wanted to give that trust. I wanted to give that sense of, okay, to me maybe it may be looking like a whole movie, may look like I'm making it up. It may look like I shouldn't have watched that movie a day before. But at the end of the day, I wanted to still have that trust. I wanted to actually believe in the process. I understand that it's so many things overall. It could be either from hypnotherapy to something else. But the point is, a lot of people just expect like an answer the very first time, which some of the time it's not gonna happen that way. So in my point of view, what I was experiencing, um, easily I could have just stayed quiet. I could have just told you, you know what, this is nonsense. Whatever I'm saying is just BS in a way. But at the end of the day, I still kept going. Still wanted to give it a shot, wanted to give you a chance to actually, in a way, it was also help for me. So I gave that chance, and here we are after 6 sessions. And basically, I have my answer, and I have more clarity and more peace overall with everything that actually happened in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned your answer a lot, and if you want to share just a little bit more about that, what would you say is like the real answer that you got that you were really looking for? Like now you have this answer.
Okay. So, um, like I said, what I wanted first at the very beginning as an answer, my question was something like, I want a transformation. I want to become better. I actually want more stability, as in everything, as in with my family, as in my workplace, and everything else. As the sessions progressed, my question or what I was looking for, it started changing. At the end of the day, what I was actually looking for was basically uh, my purpose. So one other thing that I actually connected with that was I wanted to help my dad. I wanted to help my mom. I wanted to help my friends. And basically, I wanted stability. Um, what we actually concluded was for me to actually get all of that was pretty much become independent, have a business on my own. So my answer at the end of the day, very clearly, and this is what it was actually told to me personally. I want to say I'm a little cloudy on that whole point. I don't remember if it was my grandpa the one that told me that, or if it was something or somebody else. But basically, my answer was carpenter. The reason why we actually got to that whole answer was I want to do something with my life. What was it? Well, carpenter. I wanted to help my mom, my dad, my friends, my family. How can I actually do that? Well, if I start my own business, I can actually give work to all those people that I actually want to help. Stability, as in being my own boss, I can actually do something that I actually like. I was having, I want to say still, to, totally. To this day, I still have my ups and downs at work, obviously, like anybody else. But in general, I didn't actually, well, I want to say I didn't know the answer. I wasn't actually seeing myself in the future in this field that I'm actually right now. Uh, the reason why I'm still here is because obviously I still got to do something. But in the future, I think I even came up with an answer, or well, probably not me, but at 35, that's where everything was gonna be starting. Um, my whole answer was basically becoming a carpenter. I wanted to build a shed on my backyard, and I actually was watching a lot of videos of how you actually come up with the whole structure, the whole if you want to add a wall so you can make a room, or you can add a garage or something like that. So all of that process is started becoming more fascinating, and it was something that my dad used to do back in the day. I want to say when I was very young, or even before that, and everything started connecting with each other. The fact that I actually kind of enjoy it, the fact that I want to do something about my life and do something that I actually like. And I've actually done it before. So it was actually a good time with me because I was actually doing it with my dad at the same time. So it just became somewhat of a fun activity. And if I can actually start my own business with that, it's actually a very well market overall. And like I said, I can actually help as many people as I really want to. Help my dad, help his economy, help my mom. Probably not in the building part, but probably something else afterwards. Help my cousins. Help anybody in a way. Just like my girlfriend does with her own business. So all of that pretty much started coming along, connected with each other. Probably that answer that I was looking for, it was basically around me. Little bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of over here. And just basically the fact that I went through these sessions, they all basically started connecting to give me my answer, the thing that I was actually looking for. What do I want to do in my life? Carpenter. If I can do that as my own business, I can do everything else that I wanted to do, that I was actually hoping for. In this whole journey, that was my answer, and I actually feel really good about it.
Yeah, I love that. You said that really, really well. It's like what you came in for, this feeling of blockage, this feeling of sinking. A lot of this may have been connected deep down to this core sense of purpose that you might not have been able to articulate at the time, but that was what you were really deeply searching for. And then by the end, it became very clear. It was like clear that purpose, and that also helped resolve a lot of these other things too. So if you could rate from 1 to 10 in terms of the everything that you came in for, the decisiveness, but really this sense of calm, this sense of clarity, um, confidence or self-trust, if you could rate your growth from 1 to 10, what would you rate it at?
My last number was a 9. Remember that?
Yeah.
I want to say today I'll give you that 10 out of 10. The fact that I was already getting to that, like I said, my answers were becoming more clear. I was actually getting the answers of what I was actually looking for, but that extra that I wasn't actually, well, I was needing that extra, but I wasn't actually looking for it. I didn't ask, I didn't mention, but I still got it. Seeing my grandparents. Like I said, my grandma passed away. everybody, family members were actually there. I was the only one that wasn't actually there because I was actually being prohibited in a way. I wasn't actually told, I wasn't aware, because they thought I wasn't gonna be able to take it very well. So never actually was able to say goodbye or anything like that, even before that, because at the time she was already not aware of anything that was going around her. She didn't remember who we were. So, and my my grandpa, he passed away very young. Um, so the fact that I was never actually able to say anything to either both of them, uh, and I was able to speak to him again. I was able to actually talk to him. I think it was my grandpa the one that gave me my answer, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that just actually blew my mind. Uh, like I said, I was actually giving that 9, but that it was just something else that I actually needed. I wasn't actually, it wasn't one of my priorities, to be honest, but I still managed to actually get that and actually have my closure. So throughout these sessions, yes, I was still looking for a specific answer for something that I actually wanted or I was needing, but all those other little messages in between still help me a lot in my day-to-day activities. So pretty much everything else, what I was looking for and all those extra and seeing my grandpa and my dad, it just pretty much completed the whole thing. You actually get a 10 out of 10.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And really it just it just shows that I mean, there's so many things that I don't even fully completely understand about this process. Just like what you mentioned. I mean, it surprises me and it's fascinating to me that some of these things that are underneath the surface that would make certain things, in this case, a 10, that we don't even know how to articulate to say, like, I don't know why it feels like it's an 8 or a 9 or not there. But then as going through the process, certain things come through that we can't even really articulate that are now exactly what we needed. And that's why I say it's almost like this process, this our subconscious, our higher self, this whole everything knows us better than we even know ourselves. It knows what we're looking for. It knows what we need, right? And I couldn't possibly come up with some of these things, right? Like if I knew, well, that would be amazing. Then I could take you there. But just by helping to guide you through the process, you're bringing it out of you, and that's what I love so much about this work specifically is that it's not me in this case. It's not somebody else telling you. It's actually you getting that for yourself. Of course, with my help, but it's still you really at the end of the day. So it really shows, hey, you know what you need, and we're just helping to tap into that part of you.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, So the next couple questions, there's just really two more that I have in my mind, and these are a little bit more about others, because if we if we could connect, like let's say if you could connect with somebody who was in your place at the beginning, who was, maybe in a place of doubt or um, not just feeling that sense of being stuck or blocked and not really sure if this program, if doing something like this would be worth it, would be worth the time, would be worth the money, would be, what would you tell them or how would you describe it if they were asking you or if they were in that position?
If they were in my position and they needed some help, and basically they came to you, I would actually tell them this method actually works. It may seem like nonsense at the very beginning, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm telling you from experience, it seemed like it, but you just gotta give it some time. the more you actually trust it, the more you're actually gonna get everything more clearly, and you're actually gonna find your answer. I was actually very doubtful at the very beginning. I was trying not to be honest, but I knew that basically I had to actually trust it. You gave me your word as well, and I didn't want to let you down as well. So I actually put my trust and my faith in this whole process, and I actually found the answer that I was looking for. Whatever they actually have, whatever everybody comes for, whatever problem they actually have, it can be actually solved if you actually give it a little bit of patience and you just put your trust in it.
That's great. That's great. And so the $1 million question here, right? Like, was it worth the money? Was it worth what you paid?
Yes. At the very beginning, like I said, because it sounded or what I was actually saying didn't make a lot of sense. I wasn't actually hearing anybody like I was supposed to, like telling me the answer for my question. But like I said, that was on me. I needed my faith, I needed my trust. But yes, it was worth it. At the end of the day, I actually got a clear answer of what I actually want to do with the rest of my life, what I actually want to get into, what I'm actually capable of, as in building a foundation of a business for me to actually be able to, one, have that financial stability, not actually worried about living paycheck to paycheck, and helping a lot of people that actually want to help, especially my family, which they have actually done very much for me since the very beginning. So yes, it is worth it. It's basically like an investment. So it is worth it.
Yeah, that was very well said. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it as well. It's really an investment in you more than anything, right?
Yep.
And last question here. So if you were to describe this to your best friend or a family member or somebody that you're close with or your girlfriend, somebody that you were just gonna that you were already close with and describing this, hey, this how would you describe that to somebody that you're close with, if that makes sense?
It's a little bit hard to say, especially I want to say it kind of depends on the person if they're actually open-minded. My girlfriend, for example, she's very open-minded about this whole hypnotherapy. So if whatever I actually tell her, she's actually gonna understand it very well. If I actually tell her, well, just go out there, follow the steps, follow the process, have faith in it. I'm pretty sure that she is actually gonna have a wonderful experience, and she's gonna actually have a conclusion. If I actually tell anybody else, for example, somebody that is very, uh, well, in a way, doubtful about this whole process, uh, I could do the same thing. Basically, just walk them through, tell them exactly what to expect. Uh, at the same time, I cannot tell them too much because everybody's different. Nobody's gonna be basically going in with the same problem that I had. So in a way, I can just tell them the process, and hopefully they can actually understand it. Um, the key of this whole thing is basically have a very well open mind. If everybody just basically goes out there and tries to basically act like, oh, okay, this is not gonna work, this is not actually make any changes in my life, it's just a bunch of nonsense, waste of time, whatever it is, obviously they're not gonna have a good experience. They may actually be able to see something, but if you actually go thinking or wanting not to actually see or feel anything, then that's what you're gonna get. So the best thing for me is just tell them the process, guide them a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's up to them. Just basically have faith, follow the process, and they're gonna get basically what their capacity, their mind is gonna let them see.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, there are two very different types of people. People that are a little more open-minded and people that are a little more skeptical or doubtful, and you do need to kind of, yeah.
Like I mentioned with my girlfriend, even though it was me kind of trying the process on her, she was able to actually see a lot and have a connection and actually feel those feelings that that person in her head was actually feeling. So to have that deep connection with one, it wasn't a complete session with just a couple of minutes and doing it from somebody that is very basically not experienced as you. Uh, Having that potential basically is because she's very well open-minded. If she actually has a session with you, I'm pretty sure she's gonna get her answer right away. Um, but if, like I said, if you actually have somebody, in this case, actually like me, you're gonna probably take them a while, like 2 to 3 sessions maybe, to actually start getting something out of it.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you touched on a couple good things. That's why I feel like it really needs to be a program, needs to be kind of a journey that you just keep doing over the course of weeks or however long, because it allows the process to unfold. And I really like that you mentioned about your girlfriend too, and it just shows that, yeah, this is something that we can all tap into at any time. And that's why I really have a huge motivation to teach this and to help others be able to do this on their own, kind of like self-hypnosis or with a friend or family member or things like that, because it just shows that, I mean, it's a skill, it's an art form, but that we can all do it. Um, and yeah, and that's basically it. Is there anything else that you feel like you didn't say that you want to say, or anything else that you want me to know? Um, Anything at all that you feel like you didn't mention, or do you feel like you pretty much covered everything?
I want to believe that I covered pretty much everything, but just in case I actually forgot, like I said, patience is key, believing in the process, believing in you, and mainly believing in themselves. As soon as you actually get all of those corrected, you can actually do this whole process by yourself and actually get the whole help that you actually need. I'm very confident that if I actually go back again uh, in another problem, I guess, another situation, uh, I'm still gonna find that answer. More likely, more faster than I actually had in this whole process. But I'm very confident that everything actually happens for a reason, and if we just actually follow this process, um, everything can actually be cleared up, and we can have our answer for whatever we actually need or looking for.
That was a great way to wrap it up as well, because yeah, it's so true. It's like if you would have left after one or two sessions, right? And you would have been like, okay, this isn't worth it. I'm not sure about myself. You might have actually left with more doubt in yourself. Were you gonna say something?
I was actually thinking about walking out, like probably on the second session or something, to be honest. But yeah,
But I'm glad that you mentioned that, right? Because that's why this is a program, and it's not like that for everyone. But that's why you're such a great example. That's why I wanted you to speak on this, because it's so true. Like you had a very real example of being like, I literally could have walked out after, like not knowing where it was going, but it just shows as you have faith, then you get to the other side, and now you're at a time where you're so confident, where you're like, yeah, I could come back and I would get that answer pretty much instantly. And I believe that too, because now you've gone through the experience to have that open mind, to have that faith. And that's again why this is so important, why it's important to be a journey, why it's important to be a process, because because now it can work like clockwork. Like now you can get those single session breakthroughs, miracles, transformations, because you've put in the work to get there. And to me, it just always reiterates that transformation is a journey. It's not a single one-time event. You can make a breakthrough in a one-time thing, but to really have the transformation, that comes from the journey. And you can't. fake that, right? By you actually having gone through the process, you came to that transformation, but it shows that it was a process, right? As much as we want it to be something that happens right away, because I do too. I want it to be something that's instantaneously as well. But even I have to just be like, okay, I have to sort of respect that there's a process here too. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And I think that is a great way to kind of, wrap it up here. And I appreciate you sharing all this, because yeah, it's just such an authentic experience. And I think that makes it all the more powerful and real and helpful, because I'd love it for all of us, every single person to just be like, yeah, it was amazing. And from the very first session, from the very first thing, but it's not always the case.
Yeah. Sadly enough, it's not gonna happen like that, especially with hard-headed people like me. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give you that chance, especially because it's not just giving you the chance, because at the end of the day, it's basically me helping you, helping me. So I wanted to actually give my trust and just follow the process, uh, even if it didn't sound like it was actually going the right way, even if it sounded like nonsense, whatever I was saying, even if the answer wasn't becoming clear, I still wanted to actually follow through. Like I said, I was very confident that it was something was going to change. And at the end of the day, I'm glad that I actually followed through because I actually found what I was looking for and what I actually needed.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, for me as a practitioner and on the other side of it, that's all that I could hope for and wish for is that, you rated a 10, you feel like you get what you need, you feel more confident, more yourself, more clear. I mean, that's what for me makes all of this worth it and is why I'm doing this to begin with. It's really like you having this experience and getting these results and being in the place that you are now, this validates everything for me. It validates that I'm on the right path. It validates that I'm living my purpose and focusing on that. So so thank you. Thank you for having the trust in me, because I know that's not always easy to put that trust in someone else. Thank you for sticking it through. Um, because yeah, you going through this process is changing my life too, because it's showing me that there's so much more here that others can benefit from, that if the world doesn't know about it, then it's just too bad because sometimes it can be rare to find things that are truly things that work. And I love knowing that I'm a part of something that is really true and is really real and does work. And it motivates me to get this out to more people too, whether it's teaching or whether it's making YouTube content or whatever. So thank you because you're giving me a lot of motivation too. And others, like seeing this in others and everything too. But that was one of the things I really wanted to do more stories like this and having people like you that go through the experience and telling your story. So I just really appreciate you taking the time to speak on this. It really means a lot to me.
You're very welcome. Like I said, I wanted to do this. So if there's anybody out there that actually wants to, well, in a way, they have a problem, they have blockage, just like me, or any problem overall, uh, hypnotherapy, to be honest, never actually tried anything else. But this is actually what I was looking for. I was looking for something new, not just the normal basic things, as in therapy, as in just listening to me. The fact that you don't actually just listen for me for 44 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and that's it. Uh, that actually is a game changer. Um, Overall, the fact you actually stood there, you actually listened to me when even sometimes I didn't have much to say. that actually meant a lot to me, and just wanted to actually give a little bit of my 2 cents to those people, non-believers in a way, that this method actually works. It actually uh, is something that I still can comprehend how it actually works, but it just does. And if anybody wants to actually try it, they're gonna have a great time doing it. And besides, they're actually gonna find whatever they're looking for.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, yeah, it is a really beautiful thing at the end of the day that it just really all comes down to faith. It just all comes down to belief, but belief in you, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that makes all the difference. And even a 1% change is like massive.